Continuing my catch up of movies that I watched at TIFF, I also saw Steve, which is directed by Tim Millance and stars Cillian Murphy as the eponymous character, and is a movie that'll be out on Netflix in October, but it's out in theaters this Friday, so I thought I'd talk to you guys about it a bit. It also was a movie that I attended the world premiere of at TIFF. I actually got to see this with Cillian Murphy, Tim Millance, Jay Lusurgo, and other cast members, and that was a really awesome experience. And as I've talked about with other screenings I got to attend, getting to see this at an event like that was incredibly humbling, and I really appreciate, having the chance to be able to do that. This is based on the novel Shy, which is written by Max Porter, and it tells the story of a reform school in England in the 90s. And essentially, this movie covers a 24-hour time period in that school where Steve, the head teacher of the school, is trying to keep things together as much as possible while all the boys who are there are in a state of flux. There are things that have happened in their lives that has brought them here, and they're all trying to work through it in some way. But as you might expect, that's not an easy task, because some cases are tougher than others, some have suffered more than others, and some cases can be extremely difficult, and they're all trying their best to handle it at the school. And as you're seeing everything play out, you're getting a focus on some of these boys, particularly Shy, played by Jay Lusurgo, who is going through something at this moment of time, and that's beginning to bubble up more and more as the movie progresses. Now, going into the movie, I was very curious to see it because of just the talent involved. Tim Millance and Cillian Murphy recently also worked on small things like these. Cillian Murphy is a great actor. I want to see what he's going to do next. And having seen the movie, no surprise out the gate, Cillian Murphy is great in this. He is one of the best actors we have working today, and he once again delivers a fantastic performance over here. Seeing all of this through the lens of, this head teacher, as he himself is dealing with all kinds of things, and the pressures of all of this are getting to him, and this idea that he might not be able to do as much as he can for these boys, but at the same time trying his best to continue doing whatever he can until, the clock runs out on things. It also has to deal with the fact that this reform school is something that is looked at with some skepticism from people who are outside of it. There's a documentary crew, for example, that's present in this movie very early on, and they're trying to talk about it like, hey, look, what are the pros and cons of this place? And it's like, you can kind of see where it would lean towards a less positive, depiction of that, because sometimes a kid would, say something, there'd be a fight somewhere, and that'd be the signal like, look, that means something's wrong. But at the same time, it's also trying to be like, look, they need our help, they need us, and if you give up on this place, what's going to happen to them? And seeing Steve navigating all of that along with the other teachers who are present over there, like Tracy Ullman's character, who is also really good in the movie, I thought that was all handled in some really effective ways. Emily Watson, who plays like the in-house counselor at the school, I thought she was really good too. And Jay Lusurgo, who plays Shy, I really hope I've been pronouncing his name correctly this whole time, I thought he was terrific. And there's a very emotionally impacting arc with him throughout, which I was really moved by in moments. And I really felt for this kid, because there were certain times where he really wanted to say some things. He just wasn't being able to get that out there. And you could just see that frustration like pent up within him, just building and building. He often has this loud music like he uses to drown out everything else around him. And it leads to these very, the thunderous moments. At least in our theater, things went really, really loud at times. The movie itself is very well directed too. It moves at a very brisk pace, because it's a 92-minute movie with credits, and it is just going from one scene to another. Everything is moving as quickly as possible as you're seeing the minutes pass by during the day, and it keeps up that level of intensity towards the end. This is a very fast motion picture. But I think that one of the things that it does lack as a result of that is some depth when it comes to a lot of what's happening on the side. The storylines that are being introduced, especially when it comes to some of the boys who we are introduced to, there's a lot of things going on with them when it comes to mental health, when it comes to their past, some of the events that have led to this point. They've all been through something that is a lot more serious, and there's more layers to be peeled back over there. And unfortunately we don't get a lot of that. And I feel like that's something that the movie does suffer with, because at the end of the day, it does want to make that case of like, you gotta be there for these boys. You want to be there for them. And even though it can feel like hell at times, there's still a lot of love for them and, wanting to help them. And I feel like while that does come across in some moments quite well, there are more moments where I think it could land even more effectively. And sometimes because the focus is taken away from some of the boys to, Steve and the other teachers, the things, keep going back and forth, and it just sometimes loses focus when it comes to those aspects. It's very well acted and very well directed, and it's very, intensely made, but at the same time, I just wish there was a little more time given to the characterization of some of them, and to building the storylines a bit more, and to really hone in on some of the bigger themes that the movie is trying to address. And also Simbi Ajikawa as Shola, who is one of the new teachers who comes in and is trying to keep things together. I want to give her a lot of credit too. I thought she was really great in the movie. I think that there's a lot, like I said, to credit over here. I just wish there was a little more time to really delve into some of the deeper aspects of the movie. And I feel like it was lacking over there a bit. I'm gonna give Steve a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, it is in theaters this Friday, but it'll also be on Netflix in a few weeks. Wherever you get a chance to see it, do check it out. Let me know what you guys think about it. Guys, thank you very much as always for watching. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.